All right. Well, happy Thursday, everyone. Welcome back to Cruise Chat Live. I'm Donovan, your host, an independent travel advisor with ELK Travel Company. We're your experts in planning cruise travel all around the world, whether you're planning a cruise to Alaska, the Caribbean, Europe, and destinations everywhere. We can make the entire planning process easy and help find the perfect cruise for you. Now, for everyone joining us on the live stream today, be sure to let us know down in the comments where you're from. We always love to see where in the world YouTube and Facebook is pushing us out. And certainly drop your questions down in the chat. We have Lori here with us today, the expert from Azamara Cruises, and she's going to be able to answer those questions for us live. Now, as I said, today I'm super excited. We have Lori back from Azamara Cruises. We're going to talk all things Azamara and learn just what this little cruise line is all about. So, Lori, welcome back. It's a pleasure to have you, and we are so excited to hear more about Azamara today.
Well, thank you, Donovan. I appreciate you having me here today. Welcome from cold and snowy Syracuse, New York. So I'll share my location with y'all because I'm looking out at a terrible snowstorm we're having today, and happy to be talking about being somewhere else.
I love it. Yeah, I'm here in Central California. It's sunny, but it has been abnormally cold the last few weeks. But it is sunny and no snow, so I feel for you there.
Yeah, we get used to it, but still, sometimes it's still a little shocking.
I bet it is. Well, I'm excited. I know some of the destinations you're going to talk to us about today will be a little warmer and less snowy than what you're experiencing, although there are some destinations out there that you can have cold and snow if you want.
Oh, you can. Absolutely.
So, yeah, we are ready when you are. I know you have some slides that you're going to share with us as you take us through all things Azamara.
Yeah, we're going to kind of go through sort of why Azamara, a little bit about who we are, where we go, and so let me get my presentation up here.
And while you're pulling that up, I'll let everybody know I'm actually personally so excited. I will be sailing on Azamara for the first time later this next year with Lori. On kind of a travel advisor learning cruise, if you will. So we'll be over in the Mediterranean. Which Azamara ship are we on? I don't remember off the top of my head.
We are doing the Onboard.
Okay, Azamara Onboard. Yes. Very exciting. So
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that and just kind of, I've been planning out, the last several days as I'm getting ready, just planning out what I want to make sure I get pictures and videos of, and so I can share with everybody back home on TikTok and Facebook and YouTube to kind of show firsthand what it's actually like. So
yeah, let's make a little video while we're there.
I think we should.
Oh, all right.
There we go. I think we should. Lori, I have your screen up. We're ready to rock and roll.
All right. Awesome. No technical difficulties today. That's wonderful. So as I said, I'm actually going to start out with a little video, and it happens to be our brand new company video that we just produced, and I love it because I really think it shows off what the Azamara brand is all about. So sit back and enjoy.
Imagine arriving closer, feeling closer, discovering more. On a journey where every destination feels just within reach. where every shared table sparks connection and every gathering tells its own story. Find calm amidst new adventures, in comfort and familiar faces that make you feel at home wherever you go. In every flavor, in every sound, the essence of a place comes alive. With more late nights and overnights than any other cruise line, you'll see destinations when they're most alive. Unhurried, authentic, yours to explore. Because when travel feels personal, every horizon feels closer. Welcome to Azamara, where you're always a little closer to the world.
So I think you can see why I like that so much.
I love it.
I just, that video just makes me want to get on board right now. So when we talk about Azamara, I mean, there's a couple of things that I think are truly, truly unique. One is the size of our ships. And I know most people probably aren't that familiar with the Azamara brand, but we are small ship ocean cruising. And I'll give you a little glance at what our ships look like. But we're 700 passengers. We have 4 little ships that are just so beautiful, so warm, so welcoming. And that small ship experience is really is what we're all about. It's a completely different experience than being on a big ship. I remember I took a group of my friends last year to Greece, and they had never been on a small ship before. You know, they loved their big ship cruising, but they really got to appreciate all of the things that going with a small ship can do for you. So that's, I think, number one, why us, because I just love the size of our ships. We have these incredibly immersive itineraries, and I'm going to show you from itineraries from different parts of the world, so you can get an idea of kind of how our itineraries are structured and why they're so unique. In fact, we just won, I'll say, I don't even think it's been publicized yet, but there was a big industry event last night in New York City, and Azamara actually won most unique itineraries. So of all of the cruise lines, yes, most unique and best Greece itineraries. So I'll show off a few of those.
Awesome.
We visit over 370 ports. So people always ask me, oh, well, where do you sail from? We sail from everywhere. We sail everywhere. Like, we don't have a home port. Our ships are all over the world. We're very international. Our ships are always moving. You know, we're not like, we don't just do the same itinerary over and over from a port of call. So we're very international. But the number one thing that we're known for, and they kind of mentioned it in the video, is our late night and overnight stays. And because of the size of the ship, because we're in these small ports, we are able to stay later at night or overnight, and sometimes double and triple overnights. It totally changes the experience when you're not rushing back to the ship to sail at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and you are able to get off in the ship and wander at the night and experience the nightlife and see how the culture is and see how the locals live. So late nights and overnight stays, you'll hear a lot about that when it comes to Azamara, because that really is our kind of our claim to fame. And we have a lot of different specialty voyages. So maybe you want to do the Monaco Grand Prix for your first cruise with Azamara, or go to Rio for Carnival, or there's all different kinds of specialty cruises that we do that you can kind of link your love of or interest in doing something with an Azamara cruise. We have country intensive voyages, and that's probably when we talk about our itineraries. That's what resonates the most with people, is when we do all of a country on one cruise. So wow. It's so cool. Like, you know, when I think about something like Croatia, and I'll show you some of these, where we're doing the entire coast of Croatia, which no one else does anything like that. You know, you may do Dubrovnik, you know, some might do Split, but we'll do the whole coast. So we'll focus on an entire country on our country intensive voyages. And then we do everything from 7-night cruises up to world cruises. So we just actually launched our 2028 world cruise last week. I can't believe we're already talking about 2028.
I know.
Yeah, so if you have 155 nights that you need to fill, we have a cruise for you.
Azamara has it. I love it.
Yes, we do. And we do all these with our four little ships: the Journey, the Pursuit, the Quest, and the Onward. They're basically all identical ships. And I think that's one of the things that our clients love about Azamara is that when they walk onto an Azamara ship, they know exactly what to expect. The ships all look the same, and when you walk on, it's like coming home. It's
Right.
amazing. You can see for 400 or for 708 guests, we have 408 crew members. The service is amazing, warm and welcoming and attentive, and yeah. So we do all this, the entire world on those four little ships.
I like too something that really stands out to me, and I've kind of noticed this whenever I talk to clients on the phone, to new clients, and sometimes we talk about a small ship, which when I'm talking small ship in mainstream cruising, we're talking 70,000 gross tons, right? Maybe a smaller like Holland America ship, but
Yeah.
there's like this perception of a small ship being older and not as nice and things like that. But I see all four of these ships were just refurbished last year. And I know just from what we have talked about in the past and my knowledge of Azamara that Azamara does a fantastic job of maintaining their beautiful ships and really keeping them updated to today's
Yes.
standards, if you will.
Yes, and they're constantly being maintained and refurbished and updated because they are older ships, and there's something about the older ships. You don't have the bells and whistles. You're not going to get any rock climbing walls or ice skating rinks or waterfalls, or it's beautiful, classic. It always reminds me of being in like a boutique hotel, like a little historic
Right.
hotel where you walk in and you just feel that warmth.
Yep.
And to me, that's what our ships are like. And I think something really important too when you're looking at what I kind of consider the upper premium to luxury cruises is what's included. Because you may find yourself in a different price point than what you're used to, but you also have to look at what is included in your fare.
Right.
Because a lot of times you're not spending anything more than you would have been spending. You're just spending it in the beginning, and you're having all of those inclusions once you get on board. I know I sail with a lot of other brands as part of my job, and sometimes you're just like, oh, I don't. I miss having, my standard drink package included. I miss having my bottled water, my specialty coffees, my room service. But there's so much that's included, and this is not like a promotion. This is what we have included all the time.
It's just the normal program, yeah.
Yeah, so your regular dining venues, which I'll show you, 24-hour room service, the standard drink package, which is beer, wine, and spirits all day, all night, as well as bottled water, specialty coffees, all those little things that add up. Our Amazing Evening, which I'll tell you a little bit about because it's something that is truly exclusive to Azamara and is a hallmark of our brand. Unlimited self-service laundry, and you'll notice when you look at our itineraries, a lot of our itineraries are longer. We have some less than 10 nights, but the bulk are 10 nights and longer. And that self-service laundry just makes it so much easier to pack for those longer trips. And for some reason, the laundry rooms on the ships sort of become a social place. I don't know what happens, but people bring their drinks and they sit in there and they like have a little party. So that's
I love it. That's so funny.
And then tips and gratuities. So a lot of times if you look at some other cruise lines where you're having to buy a drink package, which I'm always stunned at what the price of that is, and prepay your tips and gratuities, right there is a tremendous savings. So look at those when you're looking at some of these, more upper premium to luxury type brands.
Yeah, no, I definitely love kind of the all inclusivity of Azamara, and that's really one of the things I try to tell folks who are looking for somewhere new or they're looking for a different cruise experience. They've cruised whoever, right, many times, and they're just ready for something new, and just getting people to understand that, just like you said, that initial price maybe looks a little bit more, but when you factor in that basically everything's included. You can pay one price and not have to worry about, adding this package or seeing if this other package is on sale. It's just all included. You don't have to worry about it. So I love that Azamara has taken that approach, just making it simple.
Yep. So simple. So simple. So what I mentioned, some of those small ship advantages, and I'm going to show you 2 examples of where places that we go that others can't go because we're a small ship. One is Bordeaux. This is a favorite of our guests. And Bordeaux is an area of France that basically ships can't typically dock in, because it's up a little river into France. And with Azamara, we dock right in Bordeaux. We sail up that river, we dock in Bordeaux. We begin or end many of our France itineraries in Bordeaux with an overnight or a double overnight. And then from there, you can go off and go even further into France on some of the excursions and things. Whereas the big ships dock out in La Rochelle, which is like almost 2 hours each way. Yeah. So now Bordeaux becomes like an excursion instead of where you're actually docked. So very different way to experience it. And I had a chance to do to do Sevilla this summer with my friends on vacation. And I've talked about it so much in my presentations, but what a difference. Seville is actually all the way at the end of the Guadalquivir River in Spain. And to sail up that river is the identical experience of being on a river cruise. It's so cool to do that on a ship. But typically, again, other ships dock out in Cadiz, which is about an hour and a half each way. But then once you're actually docked and overnighting up in Sevilla, now again, we have excursions that take you out into Spain, into areas that you would not be able to go if you were docked out in Cadiz, because it's just too far away. Right. So to me, that's just 2 examples. There's many others, but they're 2 really popular examples with our guests. So I'll show this just because the math is there. We talk about those late night and overnight stays, and when we say we have more late night and overnight stays than any other cruise line, it's true. We've done the math. We've figured out by brand, where we stand in that. So if that's something that's important to you, spending more time in the port, experiencing the ports at nighttime, just know that with an Azamara cruise, that's the kind of experience you're going to get.
I think, Lori, just not to interrupt, but that really is a game changer. I mean, you look at, the cruise lines that people may know more of. I'll just pick on Celebrity as an example, right? And we'll talk about the Mediterranean. They're there. They have some amazing, bigger ships there. But again, you're looking at 7-8 hour, maybe a 9-hour port day if you're lucky, and you're out of there by 5 o'clock in the afternoon, right? You miss all of the nightlife and the opportunity to go have a local, authentic dinner on shore. And so, and gosh, the overnights. I mean, there's hardly anybody that's doing overnights these days. I mean, it's just so rare. So, to your point, right, the small ships, late nights, overnights, that can just completely change your cruising experience. It really can.
Yeah, like just an example, I took a group of travel advisors to Italy this year on one of our Italy intensive cruises. And we happened to dock in Livorno, and we were overnight in Livorno. And a group of them packed their bags, got on the train, and went and spent the night in Florence. So they had all day in Florence, all the next day, and didn't have to be, we weren't sailing until 8 o'clock the next night. So they got to experience a city that they would not normally be able to see or spend that much time in when they were on a cruise. So, yeah, it changes it. And I think a lot of people don't realize the difference, the night and day difference, that when you're there at night, like I'll use Santorini as an example. Mm-hmm. Because Santorini is one of those, definitely what we would call like a marquee port, right? Very, very desirable. And honestly, for the most part, most of the ships pull out at like 5 o'clock. So by 4 o'clock in the afternoon, everyone's lined up to take the tram down to their ship. And we're there till 10, 11 o'clock at night. So now you're able to have a drink and watch the sunset and see Santorini instead of just rushing in and out for the afternoon.
Right, and that whole tram, setup. I mean,
Oof.
that can be a little bit of a project there in and of itself. So
It
yeah,
can
to
be.
have more time there again, that is really a game changer. Now, I'm just curious. I actually don't know the answer to this, but on those overnight stays, if somebody wanted to stay on land overnight, is that
Oh,
allowed, or do
people
you have
do
to
it
come
all the
back to the
time.
ship? Okay,
They
yeah,
do it all the time. And in fact, we've introduced something new in 2026 and beyond, is that we're doing nighttime and overnight excursions.
oh
So
wow,
now,
okay,
yeah, so we'll be in an area where we'll take a group overnight to a different area, or have excursions at night. We have some really, really cool nighttime excursions. So yeah, there's no curfew. As long as you're there before the ship pulls out, you can go and do whatever you want. So yeah, when you talk about Azamara, we talk about the late nights and overnights. We call it destination immersion because we just allow you more time to connect with the people and the culture. And I mentioned this before. You saw a little bit of it in the video, but I have an even better video that highlights our Oz Amazing Evenings. And this is actually a cultural event where we take all guests off the ship and we take them to some kind of a performance, it's an event that we've created. It's not something that you can just go out and purchase. So I'm going to show you the video because I think it probably shows you an Oz Amazing Evening much better than I can even describe it.
At Azamara Cruises, every journey is designed to connect you more deeply with the heart of each destination. That's why we created As Amazing Evenings. One-of-a-kind cultural experiences designed exclusively for our guests. In the soft glow of sunset or beneath a canopy of stars, these moments reveal the soul of each destination. An orchestra performing in a candlelit cave. Dancers breathing life into century-old traditions. A community opening its doors to share stories, flavors, and song. In 2026, 35 new As Amazing Evenings debut across the globe, from the glaciers of Alaska to the temples of Japan. As Amazing Evenings, illuminated by music, art, and tradition, become lasting memories brought to life only by Azamara Cruises.
So when we say we include an Oz Amazing Evening, think of that as like having an included excursion, because that is what it is. Now, on cruises of 10 nights or longer in 2026 and in 9 nights or longer in 2027 and beyond, every sailing will have an Oz Amazing Evening off the ship. On the shorter cruises, we bring that entertainment on board the ship, because of the logistics of moving, 700 people. It's harder on the shorter cruises. That the longer cruises, it's much easier for us to manage that logistically. So they're fabulous. They're included, and they're definitely probably one of the most talked about and remembered experiences on our ships. So, and this is the second. No, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I'm sorry not to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious. Do you have an Oz Amazing Evening, just one in particular that is like the best, or one that you would recommend? I'm curious what it would be.
And this was, I tell you, I still talk about it. I mean, my friends that were with me still it still gives us goosebumps. I took a group of my friends to Greece last summer, and one of the stops on most of our Greek cruises is a stop in Ephesus, which I don't know if anyone's familiar with Ephesus. You actually dock in Kuşadası, Turkey, but they take you to the ruins of Ephesus, which are ancient Roman ruins that are just so incredibly preserved. And within the ruins are an ancient theater, 2,000-year-old theater, still all stone. And we take everyone to Ephesus at night, and that night we had a choral performance by a group from Turkey, and there was a lot of it happened to be that this particular group, there had been a big earthquake in Turkey the year before, and everyone in the choir had been affected by a friend or family member who they lost in the
Oh my gosh.
It was like it brought tears to your eyes just to hear the story. But this choral performance out in this outdoors in this ancient theater. I don't know, there was something about the acoustics and the atmosphere. It just, I gave you goosebumps. It gives me goosebumps just to remember it. And that was one of our original Oz Amazing Evenings. We've been doing it for, I don't know, 13 years now. And it is definitely a favorite of our guests. So if you go to Greece, make sure that you have Ephesus in your itinerary. Most of them do. And it's an experience you won't ever forget.
I love it.
Yeah, it's still a favorite of mine.
Thank you.
Sure.
Tell us about White Night.
Oof,
this looks fun
White
too.
Night. When I tell you people come off and there's two things they talk about, one is the Oz Amazing Evening, the other is the White Night. This is classic with us. We take a white night, a white party to a whole new level. So make sure you already tell your wife to pack her white or she'll kill you.
Yes, I will.
Yes, definitely. So we transform the entire pool deck into this beautiful white party. Everything's draped in white. Everything's decorated in white. Everyone dresses in white. They have a buffet and like nothing I've ever seen ever in my life. And every time I'm blown away by it. They have the grills out and they're grilling steak and lobster and lamb, and they've got a sushi bar. I'm
glad you mentioned that, and I'm so sorry. I don't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I have seen that from a travel advisor colleague of mine, and I just want to kind of frame this for people who have cruised before. When Lori says they have a grill out on the deck, she's talking about a charcoal grill on the deck grilling steaks. Just like you would do in your backyard. I mean, it's unlike anything you've ever seen on a cruise ship before. So,
honestly, I've never. And every time I do a white night, I'm more blown away than the time before. And then the band comes out. So we've got two different groups on board. One is the band that plays like up at night in the living room. The other is our singers and dancers, our performers. So both perform. And they sing, and everyone dances into the night. The ship is typically docked somewhere, like someone with a beautiful backdrop, and then it pulls out while the music starts playing, and it's an event. That's all.
Wow.
I'll sum it up to say it's an event.
That's incredible.
It's so much fun. It's something that our guests look forward to, and that's on every single sailing. Doesn't matter the length of the sailing. There's always a white night. So let's take a look a little bit at the ships themselves. So we always say that people choose Azamara the first time typically because of an itinerary that they want or a port of call that no one else goes to. But what brings our guests back over and over is our crew. And every time I'm on board, I think, oh my gosh, I could not meet a better crew. And then I get on the next one, I'm like, oh my God, they're incredible too. And yeah, there's something on board. They have this ability to make you feel at home. Whether it's they remember your name and what you drink after the first day, how you take your coffee, where you're from. It's absolutely incredible. And they truly are the heart and soul of our brand. So.
And I just want to remind folks who maybe missed the beginning of the live stream, but the average, well, not the average, the 4 Azamara ships, right, are holding around 700 passengers and have around 400 plus or minus a little bit of crew. And so again, that just guest to crew service ratio, I mean, right, it's just going to be out of this world. Especially in a day where you have ships out there that have 6,000 guests and have 1,200 crew. I mean, the numbers are just totally different. So,
I know to me it's amazing because what I love about our service and our staff is that the ship on board is what we consider country club casual, right? It's not dressy, it's not formal, it's not stuffy. It's so comfortable and casual. But they just have this way of providing this service without feeling like you're being hovered on. I don't know how they do it.
Yeah, and that brings up a good point. Not to get kind of off topic, but I'm just thinking of it. But I think you described Azamara earlier as kind of upper premium, right? So not necessarily luxury in the sense of what you might see on some other lines. And I just think there might be a misconception with some folks when they start hearing of these smaller ships and you hear words like luxury and premium thrown around. They start thinking, oh my gosh, I've got to pack my tuxedo and my cocktail dress, and there's a dress code. that's not Azamara at all. It's really more about the destination, but you have a great ship and a great crew to come back home to each and every night.
Yep. And this is what it looks like when you walk on board. So again, as I mentioned before, kind of that classic warmth, the woods, the color scheme. It's just very comfortable. And every ship looks exactly the same, like I said. So when you walk on, this is the reception area where where the front desk is, and where you walk up to my favorite coffee shop and all of the amenities on board. And I'll go through some of those with you. Because I think a lot of times people think, I dropped a little thing there, that because you have a small ship, there's not a lot to do. And I cannot tell you, it could not be farther from the truth. This did get, I'm sorry, something got messed up with my slide here. Sorry.
Oh, no worries. Yep. We're seeing the living room and the den. And I just wanted to say
those are, I don't know how the labels got, but the one on the left is actually the cabaret lounge. So I apologize.
Gotcha.
That moved somehow. That ghost move. And that's where like our shows take place. That's where our destination speakers come. That's, we do our shows in there. Like I said, we have our own production team on board. We have 10 new shows currently being produced now. So we'll actually have new shows next year. The middle is the living room. And this is where the nightlife is. At night, there's a band playing. Then late night, there's a DJ playing. There's different things that take place during the day. It might be trivia. It might be, different games that they have up there. But at night, there is dancing. There's drinks. There's, it's just a really fun nighttime. So if you're worried that I'm going to go on this ship and everybody goes to sleep after bed, forget that. It does not happen. And then over on the right is the den. I'll have to fix that after. And that is actually that's right in the middle of the ship. It's sort of the hub of the ship. There's a beautiful piano there. We have a piano player on board. So like before dinner, he's playing, nice, peaceful, casual music. People are sitting in here having a drink. And then after dinner, he starts into his, piano show at night. And it might be a different theme. That might be an Elton John night or a Billy Joel or something. But the den is super, super popular. A lot of people hang out in there, but it's like right in the middle of the ship. So you're always walking through the den and kind of seeing what's going on. So I mentioned before that the 4 ships were basically identical. And there's one difference. And this is it right here. So the 3 ships, the Journey, the Quest, and the Pursuit, have this beautiful area called the drawing room. And it's kind of like where you would go to maybe sit and read or check your emails, check out a book, just sort of quiet, relaxing space. Beautiful, lovely. On the Onward, we happen to have taken that space because they just purchased the Onboard back in 2022. And they converted it into this really cool bar called the Atlas Bar. And it's known for these craft cocktails and tapas. And it's just a really different vibe. Our guests love it. But right now, it's just on that one ship. And that's truly, what I could tell you, is the only difference between the 4 ships.
Okay.
So, I'll meet you in the Atlas Bar.
I love it. We will be there. I was just looking at our cruise in June. For those who missed earlier, I'll be joining Lori on an Azamara cruise this coming June, and we will be on the Onward. So I'm very excited about that.
Yes. So this is, some of these moved around. I don't know how that happened. So we have all different kinds of cabin categories, even though these are all mislabeled for whatever weird reason. On the left, we have our suites, and we're really known for having these incredibly beautiful suites, whether it's our very large suites, whether it's kind of our entry-level suites. So there's a lot of extra inclusions that our suite guests get. Our ships tend to sell top down, so the suites tend to sell first. It's just because we have a big repeat clientele, and they like their suites that they're used to. But then we also have beautiful verandas, very spacious, very comfortable. We have ocean view. And then we also have some interior cabins. Not a lot. It's a small percentage of our inventory. But, sometimes I'll have grandparents bringing their teenage grandchildren, and they're like, yeah, they're great in an inside cabin because they're going to sleep in every day anyway. But I'm going to put myself out where I'm going to have some amazing views.
I love that. And, it's funny you mentioned that. I have, I was telling you before the call, I have a mother who is booked on Azamara next summer over in the Med. She's taking her two teenage boys, kind of their graduation gift. And we had kind of looked at maybe doing one veranda, one inside. And we didn't end up going that direction. But to your point, the point I want to make there is a lot of people maybe don't think, well, those multi-generational family trips, grandparents taking the grandkids, or maybe grandparents, parents, and grandkids going Azamara. Really could be a great fit to be able to see some of those far-flung destinations that are a little bit more challenging, to get to.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, I was on this summer, and it's the first time, I think, because I was right in the heart of summer, that I saw as many grandparents, our children and grandchildren traveling together. And I think maybe because it was Italy, and Italy is just such a popular family destination. And it's a great way. We don't have a kids program, but what we have is such an engaging itinerary that you're basically out doing stuff every day, all day. And, the kids can come back, have a nice dinner. And, most of them that I saw were either on their tablets or on their phones, taking advantage of the Wi-Fi.
I can believe that 100%. But, that is becoming, I think they call it the skip travel or skip generational travel, whatever it is. But that's more and more common, where you have the grandparents taking the grandkids, leaving mom and dad at home, but taking the grandkids on some of those, those vacations like this. So you're seeing that more and more and more out there.
Yeah, it's incredible. I had never seen that many children, and I'm not talking like little kids running around like on a big ship, but just we don't typically see a lot of kids. And they were first of all, they were incredibly well behaved, well traveled, and they were just loving being on this ship and seeing what they were seeing. So if it's something your clients are thinking about, definitely keep that. Places like Italy, like Greece, they're wonderful destinations to take kids to, or teenagers.
No, I agree. A lot of history and a lot of things to see over there.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of family activities that you can do. So anytime you got a lot of water, there's always fun things you can do.
Yeah, definitely.
So dining always, I mentioned before that, we had the main dining venues were all included, and these are the included dining venues. Discoveries, which is our dining room. This is open seating, and I love that about it. You walk up to the maitre d' and you say, I've got a party at 2, I've got a party at 4, I've got a party at 6, whatever it is, and you just sit down. There's no reservations, there's no pre-planning. You just go and enjoy whatever size party that you have. Mosaic Cafe is our coffee shop. I think it's the best coffee I've ever had. They've always got little treats in there in the morning and the afternoon, so you can stop and grab a cookie or a muffin or a little sandwich. Windows is our buffet. It is not your traditional cruise buffet. It's incredible, but probably what our guests love about it the most is that every night it's a different theme, and I think it's a chance sometimes for our crew to be able to show off some of their local culinary. I've had people tell me that the Indian night is the best Indian food they've ever had. So,
well, I'm sure it is.
Yeah, they get a chance. There's a Thai night, and I think they get a chance to really make some of their local favorites on night in the cafe.
That's incredible. I love that.
Yep. And then the patio. So the patio is adjacent to the pool, right outside of the buffet, and during the day it's a casual place for lunch. So there's always a salad bar there. You can get sandwiches, burgers, wraps, that kind of thing. At night we cover the tables and bring out the menus in the waiter service, and it's another dining option outdoors under the stars. So that way, if somebody doesn't want to put pants on and go to Discoveries, they can sit outside and have a lovely dinner in the patio.
I love it. See, there's flexibility for everybody, no matter what you want to do, how you want to dress. There's
absolutely.
a place for you.
People that say, I'm not going to put pants on. I'm like, all right, you don't have to put pants on. You just can't go in the dining room for dinner. You do everything else.
I love it.
And then we do have 2 specialty restaurants. They're small, they're intimate. These are wonderful if you maybe are celebrating a special event. So Prime Sea is our steakhouse. Aquilina is our seafood Mediterranean restaurant. All of our suite guests, just so you know, this is another benefit of being in a suite, get unlimited specialty dining. So you can eat in these two restaurants as many nights as you want, complimentary.
Wow. I love that.
Nice benefit. And then for our regular guests, it's $49.95, or there's different dining packages that you can purchase. So let's say you want to do both of them. You can buy a 3-night package, and maybe you do 2 at one and 1 at other, or something like that. But
right.
They are wonderful. And it's just a little different experience, just because it's smaller and a little more intimate than the dining room is. I mentioned before, we have all of our wonderful shows, local entertainment. We bring on a lot of local entertainment, guest speakers, things like that. We have I think for the size of our ship, we have a great gym. A lot of people take advantage of it. There's a great gym. They've got different classes that they do. If you want a personal trainer, all of that's available. And then a wonderful spa with all the traditional spa treatments, but there's a hair salon, there's a nail salon. So like I said, a lot of things that the big ships have, just a little smaller package.
Right.
Oh, any thoughts before I go into some of the itineraries?
I walked away thinking about my sailing with you, and I was thinking, you know what? I need to upgrade to a suite so that I can have unlimited specialty dining. That was my takeaway.
Always, I know. It's a tough one, because I love the dining room. Like, I don't think anybody walks away feeling like if they ate like that, they have to go to a specialty to have a really good dinner.
Right.
But I do love that sometimes, just to have that nice little table for 2 with my husband and just have a special little dinner alone,
Yeah, no, I love this. Everything so far has just been fantastic, and it just has me personally, which we're about to get into that. You're going to take us through some itineraries. And I'm like, man, I need to put some more Azamara Cruises on my list for next year. So can't wait to see them.
Well, we'll start with the Med, because honestly, if you look at all of our portfolio of cruises, probably the majority or the highest number take place somewhere in the Mediterranean. And what I want to point out about the itineraries is that every single one is different, and that's really hard for people sometimes, because they'll love this particular cruise, but they want to do it on a different date. It doesn't work that way. Everyone's a little bit different. So you really have to take a look at it and, select, if it's the date that you want, great, or if it's that, you've always wanted to go to Cannes, and this particular itinerary does it. But just know that they don't necessarily repeat. So These are for example purposes, just to show you. So this, for example, I mentioned before, the intensive cruises. This is a France intensive. So you can see that the focus of concentration is on France. And there's always one other country. It's just a part of how we have to build our itineraries. So this particular one will start in Civitavecchia, and then we'll sail all around the coast of France. So 11 nights, 2 overnights. You can get an idea of, those kind of possibilities.
Sure.
So popular, Italy. It's always a choice when people are going to Italy the first time, and it's like, do I do a cruise or do I do a land? And I don't think most people realize that you can do this much of Italy from a cruise. Yes. And not have to unpack and pack and move every other day, which is exhausting.
Well, and I'll tell you, something like this, not to cut you off, but something like this is a little more unusual. You don't typically see cruises that have both the eastern and western coast of Italy. Usually it's one or the other. Maybe you'll have East Coast and it adds Croatia or Greece or somewhere else, or you do the western coast by itself with maybe Spain or France. So to be able to kind of hop around both sides, that's pretty unique.
And really unique is the Amalfi Coast. And we do Sorrento and Amalfi, and we tender. These are tiny little ports. Typically, the cruise ships have to dock in Naples, and you have to go to Sorrento or Amalfi as an excursion, which is it's not the easiest place to get to. And like, for instance, last year I went to Sorrento, and again, this is where I think we're there till like 10 or 11 o'clock at night. went, spent the entire day in Capri, took a boat to Capri, came back to the ship, dropped off my purchases, and then went back in and spent the whole evening, had dinner outside on the street in Sorrento. Like, you typically could never do Capri and Sorrento in the same day. It's
right,
just
not enough time.
Almost impossible. Correct. So that's an example. There's so many combinations of Italy, but it is a wonderful way to do it. So I mentioned Grand Prix. This is always every year a big, and we have several different options for the Grand Prix as well. They're not always all 14 nights. Next year, they actually made the Grand Prix later, so the cruises are later than they typically are. But you could see here, this is not a country intensive, so you can see where you now are combining multiple countries on a longer cruise.
Right.
Oh, and just to mention Grand Prix, it's actually a shore excursion. You can purchase tickets to see the Grand Prix. For those
okay.
Yeah. Some people just want to go and see where it happens. Other people want to go and see the race.
Right.
So. Spain. This is an incredible way to do Spain. I did a very similar itinerary to this, well, twice now in the last 2 years. And what's nice is you get that whole coast of Spain. You do Gibraltar, which is a really, really unique port of call.
Yes,
and then you also get some Portugal in there, which is wonderful.
I love it.
Yeah, a lot of our Spain cruises. Oh, and this is one that does sail up to the river into Seville. So a bonus.
I love it.
I mentioned before some of our Croatia. So you can see here that we sail out of Venice and we do that entire coast of Croatia. We stop in Montenegro and the cruise ends in Athens. So really cool itinerary. And that's only 9 nights. And look at how much you're seeing.
You're seeing a lot.
Yep.
I love it.
Greece. And what's so cool about our Greece itineraries is that we in total go to 30 different Greek islands. So every itinerary is different. I did a 10-night last year, and I'd say half of the ports are different than what is on this particular one. But you can see we do go to Kusadasi, where we do that incredible, amazing evening in Ephesus. Mm-hmm. So highlight. And then end in Istanbul, which is really cool.
I love it. You know, I'm just sitting here thinking it must, whoever the person, or I'm sure there's a team right back at Azamara HQ who plan these cruises and destinations and itineraries years in advance. That has got to be a job right there. Goodness gracious.
It is actually one man. It's one man.
Is it really? Wow.
Yes. He has a couple people that help him, but this is what he does, and he is incredible. Better than anyone I've ever seen in any cruise line I've worked for. Yeah, wow. He's phenomenal.
That's incredible.
Yeah. So here's an interesting one. So if you have someone that's looking for something a little longer, this is a 34-night. This does Iberia, Northern Europe, and the Baltics. So this is a really cool itinerary. It's got 5 overnights on it, but it's doing all the way around the coast of Spain, and then it's going up along the coast of France into Copenhagen and Stockholm. And I mean, this is, if I had the time, oh my God, this would be totally on my list.
That looks incredible. And I'll tell you, I have done some cruising in the Mediterranean. I've done some Northern Europe, and when you can find a cruise that is up there in the Baltics, in Northern Europe, in that area, that is just like a whole nother world. The Mediterranean, it gets a lot of focus. I just don't find that people talk about Northern Europe as much, but oh my gosh, it is some of the most beautiful landscape and cities and towns out there. So you have Norway now. I have been to Norway, and it is just such a beautiful country. It really is.
Look at how far up. This goes all the way up to the North Cape. This is phenomenal. It leaves out of Amsterdam and then comes back and ends in Dublin. So, you're going up into Norway, but look at what easy airlift you have going into Amsterdam and out of Dublin. So much easier than if you were flying up to one of these places.
Yeah,
so that's cool. Now, let's say you just have a shorter amount of time. This is an 11-night that's going to do Denmark, Sweden, and Finland. This is on my list for next year. This is on my list. I have it down to 3 different cruises for my vacation, and this is one of them.
Wow.
But it's because it's such an unusual place and that so many people haven't been to.
Yep.
All right. So,
Asia.
I'm going to have you guess, what is our number 1 selling itinerary at Azamara?
Oh my gosh. Well, My gut would tell me something in the Mediterranean, but being that we're heading into Asia, it's got to be something down there.
Japan.
Japan intensive. Okay. I mean, that
Yep.
that makes sense. Japan is a hot destination
It's a
right now
hot
anyway.
destination, and look at how much. I mean, this is just one itinerary. This is a 14 night. Most of them are 14, 15. There's a couple shorter. This literally does the entire coast of Japan. It's
Wow.
People love it. We're starting to add fall departures because our spring departures fill up, mostly because
Well, I'm
it's cherry
sure.
blossom season.
Yep, I was going to say.
And then also, all of our Japan also includes a stop in South Korea. So a lot of people, like, they have this kind of idea. They want to go to South Korea, but maybe not just go to South Korea.
Right.
Japan goes to South Korea too.
I love that.
You know, this is a cool itinerary in the Indian Ocean, just something really different. This is one of those itineraries that people will typically either do the segment before or after. So
Right.
maybe have a cruise that ends in Singapore and then does this through the Indian Ocean, or vice versa.
Yeah, and that's pretty unique. Just thinking about the way most Azamara cruises are, right? It's so destination and port intensive, but you have a decent amount of sea days on a sailing like that, so it kind of changes the dynamic a little bit.
It does, and it's funny because our country intensives do not typically have a lot of sea days because we're literally doing one country and we're in port so much. But as you get into some of the more exotic itineraries, then you have many more sea days. And a lot of people that are big cruisers, they like the sea days. They like, whereas some people that are typically going for a little shorter, they want to see as much as they can see in a shorter amount of time. It's a different mindset for some reason.
Yep.
Here's one: Japan, China, and South Korea. Another really popular itinerary for us. And there's China intensive too. And I think if somebody really wants to see China, there's just a safety feeling, I think, doing it on a ship. Coming back to a ship, where they understand, and I think in Asia in general, they understand the language, they recognize the food. You've got the best of both worlds, right? You're totally immersed, but then you can come back to where you feel comfortable and safe too.
Familiarity. I love it.
All right. Not something most people think of when they think of cruising, but Africa.
Yeah.
Obviously, because our ships go all the way around. We have multiple cruises to Africa. So this is just one example. Madagascar, South Africa, Mauritius. Mauritius has been like a really hot topic lately for a lot of people. Mauritius has kind of come out like the Seychelles sort of thing. It's got its moment now. We have several cruises that either begin or end or stop in Mauritius. African coastline, and I'll mention, and we'll get to it, but probably by the time we get there, I'll be speeding along a little bit. We do have a land package that you can do with Mikado Safaris in conjunction with with our Africa cruises. So if you don't want to go all that way and not do a land, do a safari, you can add that to one of our Africa cruises.
Okay, incredible. That's good to know.
All right, and I know one of your favorites,
Alaska. I love it.
Ours are a little different. So we do 10 and 11 night Whittier to Vancouver, or Vancouver to Whittier. Vancouver to Whittier cruises. We have a couple that are round trip Vancouver, but most of ours are open jaw. They go to a lot of little ports that the bigger ships don't go to. And although we don't overnight in Alaska, we do a lot of late nights. So we're in some of these little towns till 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night. So you definitely get to see
everybody else is left by then.
Yeah, you get to see some interesting little spots. Plus, we do all of the Alaska cruise tours as well. So if you have somebody that's looking for Alaska, we're open for 2026 and 2027 right now. And we do have all of the cruise tours, depending on if you want to do Denali, all of the traditional cruise tour packages. So really cool next year. We have 3 solar eclipse cruises in 3 different parts of the world, I guess I would say. So if you have someone there, there was so much hype around the eclipse a couple years ago.
Yes.
As soon as we opened these, they went crazy. So this is a Greece, Turkey, and Italy cruise that will be there for the solar cruise. For the solar eclipse, we have a Belfast, Dublin, and Galway. And we have a North Atlantic with Iceland, Greenland, and
I
Quebec.
love it. A lot of options. And I think there's a solar eclipse in 2027 as well, too, kind of in that same
In that same
part of
time
the
frame?
world. Yeah, I want to say so. Somewhere around the same time frame, the same part of the world, too, I believe. So, yeah, but no, to your point, the solar eclipse and just cruises that do that have been very popular.
Yeah, totally. And I think the fact that you're going to have to be there to see it, and we have a lot of like people on board that are, there's scientists on board that are going to be, obviously lecturing about the solar eclipse and all that. So
Yeah.
just something different. I mentioned before World Cruise. This happens to be our 2027. Every year it's different. So they begin and
Okay.
end in different places. Next year, 2027, it begins in San Francisco. And you can see
Oh,
kind
wow,
of,
that's cool.
yeah, it's a really cool, it's very different in 2027. And then it ends in Copenhagen. So San Francisco to Copenhagen. Let's see, 2027 is 188 nights.
That's pretty unique too, because you go San Francisco down to South Pacific to Australia up through Asia, and then you come back to North America. You don't typically see that. A lot of times they'll hop around India and Africa and go that way through the Suez.
And some
So
years
this
we
is
do.
different.
Some years we do, but the thing with the World Cruise is that you can't do the same thing every year because a lot of
Right.
World Cruisers do it
They
every
do it
year.
each year. Yeah.
And just if anybody is even thinking about that, there are so many inclusions for World Cruisers. There's over $40,000 in added inclusions. So the price tag might look a little high, but then you look at the onboard credits you're going to get and all the different inclusions.
Yep.
For a lot of people, it's cheaper than staying home. We'll put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're entirely right. And with the World Cruise, people can also do segments, right? Do you sell?
They can
just
do
smaller
segments, yeah. Yep. So 2027 segments are open. 2028 are not yet. We keep it. We will probably by about March open the segments. So yeah, a lot of people start out doing one or two segments and they build up. A lot of times they're like, I don't know if I want to do that long. I'm going to do a segment first and decide if I like being on a cruise that long. And
Right.
I don't think I've met anybody yet that says no, I don't want to go longer. So
Yeah.
it's anything. It's just one of those things you keep in the back of your mind, and someday in your life it might be just the perfect way to spend a few months.
Definitely.
And I'll go through this kind of quick because I know we're getting a little long on the time because we've chatted a lot. But just know that we have a lot of different land packages that you can do before or after your cruise or in conjunction with your cruise. And one I want to highlight is Perry Golf because, I don't think there's any better combination than golf and cruising for a lot of people. And we have a package. We have an exclusive arrangement, partnership, I should say, with Perry Golf. And we do over 25 countries and 80 golf courses all over the world, some of the top ranked. And when you're a part of the Perry Golf package, we set up everything. We do everything for you. All your pairings, your social events. It's amazing. And I have just a really little video. And my favorite part about the Perry Golf package is that you don't both have to do the package. So you can either just one person does and the other doesn't do it at all, or there is a social package. So let's say the husband golfs and the wife doesn't. She wants to go to the spa and go on excursions. She can still pay a much lesser price and just go to the social events. So the second person is still a part of the group. They just don't do the golf.
Right. Okay.
And,
that's really good. Yeah, I like
being
that.
the wife of a golfer, I know that even though I could golf, would I go golf at this type of golf courses? Probably not. Way too hard for me. But I'd love to go to the cocktail party.
Yeah, that sounds like fun.
I mentioned Mikado. Again, you can add we have 2 different 4 or 5 night pre or post packages that you can add if you do want to look at that, if you're planning something for Africa, and then we have, not just our pre-night stays, but we have city stays if you want to stay a couple nights before or after, or hotel stays where you also get tours, meals, and tour directors included. So lots of ways to round out your cruise with a land stay. And this is the promotion we have going on right now. This is our biggest sale of the year. It will go till the end of March. So, yeah, we're in an exciting time right now. You know, after the holidays launch, typically, you know, everything gets crazy for a couple months. And
it's the busy season.
It's our busy season, yes. And then we always have our early booking bonus, and this is for the farther out sailing. So like I mentioned, we're open into 2027 and into 2028 now. You can always book early, get a flat 30% off. You'll never get a better deal than that. So don't ever worry about planning too far out or that the prices are going to go down. It doesn't really work that way. So if you see something out there that you love, like I said, some of the itineraries only happen one time.
You got to get it.
Got to get it. Got to get it while it's there. So, yeah.
I love it. You finished exactly at the 1 hour mark, to the minute. If you can
I was
believe
watching it. I was watching it. I knew I was getting close.
Oh, that's incredible. Well, Lori, thank you so much. This has been probably one of the most fun cruise chats that I have done. I feel like we have learned a lot about your brand, and again, it makes me that much more excited for my own personal sailing with Azamara later next summer. And again, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, I can add one maybe before, maybe add one after, and just kind of really get the full experience. So I guess the last question that I would leave you with, and this should be an easy one, but if you could kind of sum it up into one sentence, right? Who is Azamara Cruises best for?
Okay, I always say myself because I am my perfect demographic, right? I am an empty nester. My husband is retired. I will probably retire in the next couple of years. We have some disposable income. We don't travel with kids anymore. We don't have to plan around school vacations. You know, for us at this point in our life, it's become about the destination and where do we want to experience? How can we get the best experience in the time that we have? And that's what I say. It's like we're still active. We want to get out and do things, and we have the time and somewhat disposable income to do it. And I think that that is exactly who we are.
I love that. That's perfect. And I lied. I have one other question I meant to ask earlier, but this is really important. I have a lot of solo cruisers who book travel with me. How does Azamara work with solo travelers?
So we have, we always have like an ongoing list of sailings that we have reduced single supplements. Okay. Unfortunately for solos, cruising is like the toughest thing sometimes for a solo traveler because a lot of times you do have to pay as if there's two people in the cabin. And we have a lot of sailings where we reduce that, but they are based on capacity. So if a sailing's doing really, really well, they're not going to reduce the single supplement. But, you know, right now when we're looking at sailings maybe in next summer or fall, we can start to see that we need a little push on those. We'll reduce the single supplement so that we can get some solos on board. We do have quite a few people that travel solo. I think it's because it's such a relaxed atmosphere on board. It's very comfortable for people that are traveling alone to meet other people and not feel uncomfortable being alone on the ship. So I do see a lot of solo travelers, but the percentage of discount can be different depending on the sailing. Right.
Very good. Perfect. No, I figured there was something like that, but wanted to touch base on that for all of our solo clients that may be watching. So perfect. Well, Lori, again, thank you so much, folks. Thank you for tuning in today to Cruise Chat, and thanks to Lori for joining us. Just a reminder, folks, if we can help you plan your next cruise, whether it's with Azamara to some of the amazing destinations they go, or any cruise line out there, right? We have a QR code here on the screen. You can also visit us at our website, elktravelco.com. Schedule that free cruise planning call, and we would love to get started planning your next cruise for you. And I just want to make sure, for those who are watching live, make sure that you're on our email list. We will be sending out a great sampling of Azamara Cruises for next year that have some amazing pricing on them. We would love to share those with everybody, but you have to be on the email list to get those. So, Lori, thank you again. We look forward, hopefully, to having you back sometime next year, and maybe we can get you on live while we're over on the Onward next summer.
Let's do it. All right. Thank you,
Awesome.
everyone. And
Thank you.
thanks for having me. Okay. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lori. Bye.